once again in session.
So just no watch, just tell everybody.
Whichever you want to keep your voice up, Mr. Starr.
First, I would like to take this time to address Mr. Shank's family. I know there aren't any words that can be said that can take away the pain that you feel, but with all my heart and soul, I stand before you now and I want you to know how truly sorry I am for causing you the pain that you are now feeling. Every day I pray to God to please forgive me and to comfort you and help you find in your heart to also forgive me. And I ask the courts to please have mercy on me, Your Honor. I have never been in any kind of trouble with the law before, not even as a juvenile, because my mother and grandparents did everything in their powers to raise me to be a man of honor. But somewhere down the road, I lost myself. I got into drugs really bad and let it take over my life. Every day I lose a part of myself because Josh was a good friend of mine. And for the rest of my life, I have to live with the knowledge of knowing this means he's no longer here. And to me, that's worse than any sentence I could give. But today I stand before you, Your Honor, as a man, Your Honor, and I ask the court to please have mercy on me. And I beg Mr. Shank's family to please forgive me, and I ask my family to please forgive me for causing them pain through all this. Thank you.
Do you want to file that?
I think that's a good idea.
Your Honor, may I briefly respond?
No, he's not done. No, I'm not going to have any response. No, yeah, go ahead and file that with the clerk. And I don't know if Mr. Brown's done with his presentation.
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. No, I don't need any response. I mean, we can go back and forth, but that's not what this is about. So, I've read everything. I've lived with this case for 2 years. Long time. And I'm going to, again, keep my remarks brief. And I'm going to say what I've said before. First of all, no matter what I do, it's not going to bring back Mr. Shank. I'm sorry for the family. I hope there's closure when we do the sentencing, but nothing I do, whether I give him low end, high end, is going to bring Joshua back. Nothing I do is going to bring him back or change the circumstances of the defendant's life. So I guess what I'm saying is nobody's going to win in this. So let me, having said that, I was a prosecutor 23 years, and I handled many cases, and I know how the victims feel. And again, nothing I can say is going to bring it back, but I am sorry for what's happened. Interestingly, as Mr. Brown's recounted our criminal system here, Judge Schemas, who's one of the judges I looked up to most when I practiced law, was around when the Sentencing Reform Act came in. And he always emphasized how the presumptive range was always mid-range, and he worked up or he worked down from there. In this case, I think there's a couple things that have really played out. One, I think, frankly, the officers did a good job. As you know, I've worked with Detective Stephan in particular for almost 30 years, over 30 years, and he did a great job. I mean, this case is what I see every day, and I've been reflecting on this more and more, which is about addiction. And I wish that we would at some point recognize it for what it is, which is a medical issue, not a moral issue. Get out of the closet, let's give people help. I'm not using that in any way to excuse anything, but I keep seeing more and more cases in the system where addiction of some type is ruining more lives than anything I've ever seen, led to our high incarceration rates. I'll also say, in reviewing this, I think the mitigation package is not to make an excuse, but it does help explain certain things, just as I can learn from the family of the victim, how things are explained to me, why things happen, I don't know. Little things could have been a bit different. But I keep also, when I was listening to this and reading, I kept reflecting back on Dr. Pablo Stewart, who is a psychiatrist that I've had the honor of hearing many times, and actually done some presentations with him. And he's always emphasized to me and to his audience the effects of drug use on physiological development of young people, in particular men. And boys develop slower than girls. And when they use drugs, as he started at 13, I think, or 8, I can't remember, 8, it does affect. It's not an excuse. Again, it's a mitigation package. I'm saying this all because the range is still set by the legislature of 240 to 320, but where I go in the range is affected by all the different factors. factors. You have that. You do have the injuries to the head, which have affected his physiological and potentially psychological. Of course, the active use of the drugs is, there are ways to get help on that. You know, we have drug courts, we have other things, and you know, you go back and forth on all this. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that in my experience, which is 33, 34 years here, handling aggravated murders, murder cases as a prosecutor and as a judge, I think this falls flatly within the mid-range sentence. You know, sometimes we just do it on our experience. I think there are some bad things about it. There's some things that are mitigated by the package that are there. And it's a horrible life that he had, but that doesn't take away from his actions, which is why he pled guilty, and that's why we're in the range we are. So I'm going to set the range for the sentence at the 280 months. I think it's as appropriate as anything in these cases. I think the mitigation package did help me understand a little bit. I still don't understand the murder, but again, the proportionality with the co-defendants, proportionality with other cases that I've heard and been involved in, and I'm going to say probably, why am I going to guess? Quite a few. And again, no matter what I do, we're not going to get back Josh, and that's the sad part of the whole thing. So, having said that, 280 months, any dispute is the credit for time served, 734 days?
No, yeah.
All right.